dig up that old fossil.
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no move.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vedabonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
Kenton, before we get to the final episode of Skeleton Crew, which dropped last night, let's get this out of the way. For those who we're going to lose our followers on TikTok in the States. So where else are you? What other platforms are you on? Let everybody know what platforms you're on and what your handle is. That's all I'm seeing in my TikTok feed today. Everybody's bailing. Everyone's like, follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube, follow me on this. And then people are messaging me saying, I'm following you on Instagram, but I'm going to miss you on TikTok. And I don't know what's going on here. And I'm just going to sit back and wait and see.
The two that keep popping up are Red Note and Lemon 8. I keep seeing. I looked at Red Note for a second, and it's it's written in a different language that I can't read.
Yeah, no, it's an Asian, it's a
yeah.
Chinese app, and they're doing that to try and spite the American government and saying, We're just going to go to another Chinese app. You're going to have to ban another Chinese. Like they're just going to trying to make a point of it. I don't think that's not going to do anything to change the outcome of what's going to happen here.
Well, I mean, it'll be nice to have another separate form of communication with Asia apart from TikTok. So that's good. It's nice that we're keeping the channels of communication.
I'm surprised that it's not just as simple. We're going to port over to Instagram, and people are not like. Well, I mean, many people are saying this, but apparently, like a lot of people I've talked to have already been posting all of their stuff on both platforms anyway.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like Instagram is like they're just already doing that, and it's not doing anything. Instagram does not get them the same result as TikTok. And that's why everyone's so upset about this. Is that it's not as good as TikTok.
Well, then you add Zuckerberg making his PR case.
Getting rid of fact checkers.
Yeah. He's like, fact checkers are too biased, so I'm gonna fire all of them, and then I'm going he's
just getting in line with the new dictatorship,
right? Getting in line with the new dictatorship, and then he went on Joe Rogan apparently, and I did a 3-hour interview, which I can't imagine. I hope somebody else watches it so we don't have to, so they can just tell us about it. But I also think there's that a bit going on with Meta too. Like we're just kind of have we had enough with the quirky big tech owner? Have we had that? Have we had enough of it?
We've had enough since Steve Jobs. I think that's been long past it.
I think the model of that has warped into something a little different. I mean, Steve Jobs had his own stuff going on. You can read the bio by Walter Isaacson, and sort of go, okay, that guy had some quirks, but what we're seeing now, I don't know what to even call that.
All right. Well, let's put a pin in that. What are you going to call it? They're like fledgling emperors. They all grew up watching Star Wars. Let's tie it into the main topic. They all grew up watching Star Wars and said, I want to be the guy in the black cloak. That sounds like a good position for me.
They didn't get the lesson from Star Wars, I'll tell you that much.
They didn't know how. They're like, man, if that guy he could have just avoided being thrown down that pit. Anyway. Okay, so we're talking about Skeleton Crew, the final episode.
They re-elected his clone. That's what happened.
I am so curious as to how you feel about this final episode of Skeleton Crew. I saw your TikTok you posted today, which was, I think, a reference to St. Elsewhere.
No, what a horrible dream.
Yeah.
No, and it's Jar Jar going, you thinking you people gonna die?
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, listeners, but no, I did that because as I was watching, I was thinking about Skeleton Crew so much that I was like, the worst nightmare would have been at the very last scene when Jar Jar Binks on that cruiser pulling in, and for a minute it crossed my mind that could happen. I thought this show could be ruined in the last second of the show, and that's what made me do that. Okay, it was just that.
By that I'm guessing that you liked the final episode.
I did indeed. How about you?
I was a bit disappointed, I gotta say.
Well,
I think you built up my expectations too much.
Well, no, but hey, big picture. I think it ended the show. I was excited during the finale, which I did not expect.
Sure,
there was excitement.
Moments.
And it's one of those where I thought, like, I was so invested in the show already that I forgave it some of the things that I thought about later. Like maybe some of the things that happened in the order that they happened, and so they could happen. There's a little bit of that stuff going on that when you think about it later, you go, well, what was with that? But overall, I was just along for that show's ride, and I like where they left it because I want more.
Okay, and I think they are going to give us more. It sounds like that is coming from what I heard.
Like after you saw it, did you want more or did you want less?
I wanted more from that episode. I
Oh.
wanted more information about Atten and what was going on there, and they just made it so simple. And I mean, I get it. They don't want to complicate it. They want to tell a simple story, and that's what they did. But they had no relation to anything else in Star Wars. Nothing came in. No cameos. No like seeming connection to the Mandalorian or anything else happening in this timeline. And I guess they're maybe pulling back on that stuff, but I just was kind of disappointed by that. I was expecting something else like that in there.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I thought it was just too simple of like, okay, it's this, they simply are making, you're right. They're, and that's the other thing is that we were right about so much of it. We called so much of that final episode. We basically described almost exactly what was going to happen, and it did. The supervisor was a droid. They killed the droid. They bring the pirates in.
The part that was a surprise in that, so like we learned that right away, and actually he puts the lightsaber away. We're like, is somebody going to come out and stop him from using it? But no, he just put it away, which I thought kind of reminded me of Luke throwing his lightsaber in The Last Jedi.
Right.
It's just got to put it away. But the robot is ruling. The part of that surprised me that I wasn't expecting was that the mother was like, "Well, sure,
as
we know, we know."
We know it's a droid. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it makes sense.
Like, and your problem is,
if you think in terms of like, I've really been thinking. This is kind of the interesting thing about the society is that these people, the adults, had been brought up the same as they bring up their kids by these droids and by this kind of automated system, right? So they just kind of blindly believe in this stuff without questioning it, whereas the kids are questioning it.
Right.
And so that's kind of the issue here is that, like, yeah, it's a droid. It sounds like Stephen, what's his face? Stephen Fry.
Right.
But it's not.
I had to think first. I almost said Stephen Wright, which would have been funny.
I almost said Stephen Merchant, so there's a lot of Stevens around. But anyway, it was a very nice sounding droid. But the weird thing is, so they bring him to in there for the conversation, and the droid knows something's up. Like the supervisor knows he's lying and does nothing about it seemingly, and just kind of plays along to try and catch him in the lie. That was a weird thing.
I thought things were going to get dark. When he goes, which one of those things that you said was a lie? And I thought it was which one of those things that he said was punishable by death. I was thinking to myself, and I thought he better answer that wisely because he's going to either be murdered or come up with the right answer, but it's going to be a winner take all scenario or loser lose all scenario.
Yeah, I thought it was, again, it just was solved so simply where he just like, oh, okay, we're just going to destroy the supervisor and that's it. And meanwhile, he also orders all the droids to spy on all the other kids as they go home with their parents.
Right.
So they can't tell them what's up with him threatening to kill everybody. And he's really a pirate. And the droids just blindly allow him to, again, I don't really buy that the droids would just blindly follow that order without confirmation from the supervisor, at least. The supervisor is like letting this guy play out his con for some reason. I don't know why. That's
one of those things that that when I thought about it later, I thought of in Monty Python and the Holy Grail when he's got the two guards standing with him in the tower and he's writing on a piece of paper and they're just smiling, trying to erase it, and he throws it out the window or whatever, so someone can find the note he's written. Yeah, and I was thinking the same thing about the kids. Like I thought he had that data pad. And which even shows up in the end credits, the data pad. And I thought that he was going to show his dad. He was going to go, look at my homework, Dad, on the data pad. Like I thought there was like an out here because the droids were kind of dumb, all told. Right. And I kind of like the fact that they just stood there and go, they just look back and forth. As you're talking, they're like watching a tennis match.
Yeah, one kid's arguing with his dad. What's going on here? And he's recording everything. But yeah, that was frustrating though. I
listening for keywords. I thought Google keywords.
Was that a thing about monitoring the state monitoring its citizens or something? Do you think?
I think I certainly got a little bit of that in there. I think there was a little bit of Donald Trump anti-Trump sentiment. I would suggest in that.
Yeah. Okay. So then he brings the pirates in, and he does it by threatening the kids. They all end up together. So Wim and his dad end up. Oh yeah, there was a nice speeder chase. That was kind of fun. The kids on the bikes through the forest was fun.
And the surprise was Dad came along.
Yeah.
And I thought that was delightful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Because the dad was like kind of a stick in the mud this whole time. He kind of was still being that, but then he got on and he still came.
Yeah.
And then when he did that jump and went, woohoo, that's when he kind of really started having fun and realizing that they were on an adventure and became more involved and then actually actively helped them fix, like release the clamps, right?
And I like when he went, I'm a level 7 programmer. So there, I thought that was, I was like, that's a great line.
Yeah.
And the speeder bikes coming back to the first episode where they jumped the thing or couldn't jump the thing. I kind of loved that. I thought that just little things that came back.
And they're like, trust KB. So, they've been through a lot. Yeah. And I love how quickly they come up with a plan. Like they're just showing up, boom, boom. Okay, we're going to go this. We're going to get the ship. We're going to go up through the barrier. And we're going to call the owl lady is their plan. It's like, okay, let's do it. And they're gone. Like they're not even hesitating. Yeah. They're so eager to get back into the adventure.
I kind of knew that the owl lady had to. There's no way you say, call me if you need help.
I know, but I thought that she might actually do something other than just show up. I
thought they could have called her before they entered the atmosphere and just said, look, we're going in, or even the pirates are here. Like there might have been an earlier time to do that. That could have raised the stakes a bit, but it's fine. I was fine with the way it kind of went down. I kind of liked that. I kind of liked the scare. They hinted that KB could be in big trouble throughout the season, I think. So I was kind of expecting that maybe something terrible could happen there, especially when you're putting her in there with the droid.
But then she gets like a great coaching from her parents as she's in contact with her parents the whole time. Like, good job. We're so proud of you. We know you can fix it. I honestly, so during that moment where like the ship is hit and they're kind of veering out of control and we see them kind of go beyond the horizon and there's a puff of smoke that comes up, but I didn't think for a second that they were dead because
first I did.
I didn't because we're used to seeing an explosion. Right. Like if you grew up in the 80s, you're used to seeing helicopter or plane go beyond the horizon and then giant explosion implying that the thing exploded and everyone's dead. That always happened. It's a trope. And they didn't do that. They just kind of did and then smoke. And I guess, I don't know, I just assumed that meant they were okay.
I'm glad they were okay.
Yeah.
It did mean that. So that was good.
Yeah.
I thought, there's a couple other things. So I love that. I love the speeder bikes. I liked, hey, we're gonna emerge through the clouds. We're gonna come back. I kind of like that. I like that. There's ways around the outer perimeter, but then if you shut off the switch, it's gone forever.
I like the switch.
That.
The switch is a fun kind of thing, and it's like, yes, it's got to be this big thing that go, and they can turn it off. Just like wasn't there a switch like that in the ship? That was the same thing when they turned the ship on, right?
And I think, and the droid, and I love the droid. He can
came
carry
back pretty quickly, and it was just basically KB fixed him, and he helped her fly the ship.
He can carry a head around and still have a conversation, which is like a.
Hey, by the way, do you know who voiced the droid after all this?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. The guy from Shaun of the Dead.
Nick Frost. Yeah. And I was like, I didn't even think to look it up until I actually watched the first few episodes again with my girlfriend. I got her hooked on the show. And I'm like, oh, it's fine. She likes the voice. Yeah, she does like it. Yeah, she likes elephants. So she likes Neil as the elephant boy. But also she likes like the kids kind of centered aspect of it, and it is kind of and pirates. She likes pirate stories as well. So there's a lot of good stuff about this.
Well, speaking of elephants, I like the fact that Neil likes nothing more than a bubble bath.
I knew you were going to
back.
Back at the bath. As soon as he gets back to home, he gets into the bathtub.
I'm not sure if that's a species thing or he just loves.
They're elephants, right? So maybe
he's the only guy we see in the bath. It's like we don't see another elephant in the bath. We just see
it is a pretty big tub, though. You guys think that
it's a giant tub.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just soaking it up.
I also thought it was interesting that Neil's dad looks more like a traditional elephant. Yeah, his dad is a more masculine kind of face, like more wrinkles and stuff. So
yes,
it's kind of cool.
And there's babies involved, and that's baby elephants. Who doesn't love that? It was the fastest pirate invasion.
Yeah,
it was quick. It was quick, and it was kind of we didn't get a sense of like we sort of like it was not a huge amount of pirates. Well, so I thought that we might have been able to. There might have been quite a bit, although their ship turned out to be much larger than I thought it was. I'm not even sure he needed his ship to come back through the clouds.
Well, it seemed like he would just tell the droids to do anything he wanted, and they would just obey his commands. But I also thought that whole invasion thing, they said, let the invasion begin. it felt like an alien invasion. It's shades of Independence Day to me, as we see the spotlights coming down and like these big ships flying over the houses, like suburbs, as they saying these are the Star Wars suburbs. So it did make me feel like it was like Close Encounters or an alien invasion movie like that.
There was definitely a callback to some Close Encounters. There's a scene where Wim holds a lightsaber. That's the classic Luke pose in Empire Strikes Back. Like we saw. The show was a really good mashup of other things, I think. Like that's what I liked about it. You could go, oh, that's like that, and that's like that, and it didn't do it the same way The Acolyte did. It wasn't quite as dumb about it.
Well, I didn't see any of that in The Acolyte. I didn't see any nods to anything in The Acolyte.
No,
blank.
I gotta think about that. I thought there. Yeah, well, maybe.
No, it wasn't just, again, it was very similar to Stranger Things in that, like, you could see the people who wrote it loved all these other things and included that kind of stuff in
Definitely a lot of Stranger Things in the last episode, for sure.
Yeah.
In the episode yesterday, there's no doubt. There was a little bit, okay, I thought later on, when I thought about this, I thought there was a little bit in terms of, like when you said, okay, they go home, but they're being watched by droids, there's a little bit of they need to leave. They need to come back. The kid's going to distract them. We're going to run over here. The dad's going to sneak in. Like there was just a lot of chess pieces that needed to go on in that scene. That maybe, I don't know, like maybe if it unfolded in a different order, because when the kids were all together with the parents, I thought there's still something that could have been done there, perchance. We don't know. I thought maybe somebody would take the risk that he wasn't going to hurt anybody, and that actually seems like it might have been a risk worth taking in the end. We got Jod's backstory
a little bit.
Yeah,
still pretty vague though. I would say, like
vague.
He's a street urchin who was raised by a Jedi, and I guess taught some ways of the Force through that.
But then
he doesn't seem to know how to use a lightsaber. That's the thing. He like waves it around. He flourishes it.
Yeah,
and that like no Jedi does that kind of stuff.
He doesn't quite know how.
Yeah,
but he also said that then they hunted down that master.
Yeah,
master,
and then showed him and killed him right in front of it or whatever. So he would have said, "No, I'm not a Jedi. Like I'm." But wouldn't they kill the Padawans as well? I don't know.
Well, no, where was he, though? I think he was just being trained by the one Jedi.
And it wasn't like an official thing. It was somebody who came along.
Someone in hiding, probably, because of the...
So who's his long-lost master?
I don't know. Well, he said she, so it could be Yaddle. Could be.
It could be Yaddle.
It could be one of the Jedi who gets killed in Revenge of the
Who's
Sith.
the Ventress? Who's the evil... lady from remember in Obi-Wan there was that, what's her face? What was her name? I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't remember.
There's those Inquisitors. Could be one of those guys.
Well, no, except I think that it's a good. No, it's a good Jedi.
Oh, this is back. This is way back.
Right. It was somebody who was hunted down by the Empire and killed.
Right, and this is during it would have been like Attack of the Clones kind of stuff.
Well, I still.
No, this would have been Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. I still think we're gonna see the backstory if there's a season 2.
Yeah,
we will see for ourselves this backstory, and we'll find out.
Yeah, I hope so, because I hope like while the kids are great, and I hope they all return. Jude Law is the best part of this show, and he is
amazing,
central part of the
great character.
And this, like, I noticed, like, at the end when they roll the credits, it's like top billing Jude Law.
Yeah,
like he's the main star.
Oh, he did a great job in the role, because it's not an easy role to play. There's a lot going on there. Like right up until the last time we see him, there's a lot going on there, and you're trying to sort of understand what he's thinking. He's capable of doing bad things, but it also seems like he does have a heart, and he's sort of like he feels bad sometimes that he didn't have a childhood like these kids did. And sometimes he that makes him angry. Other times, I think it makes him wistful. It's an interesting dynamic that we haven't seen before.
Now, refresh my memory. When is the last time we see him in this episode? What is the last shot?
Looking out of the window
as the ship is coming in to
crashing down, and then we see him looking out the window, and he kind of looks to the side and he smirks.
The ship didn't crash into the building?
Not the building he's in.
No, okay.
No. He's just watching it crash.
They're in the supervisor's tower, but Wim and those guys are Wim and Fern and the parents are taking off to go see if the other kids are okay,
right?
Or if KB is okay because she was in the ship. So they're booking. I thought they were getting out of there because they thought that thing was going to come and crash. I was a little confused in the moment as far as what was going on there. And then I couldn't remember. And then I'm kind of following like this. I'm thinking about the disappointment I'm feeling, and then that's it. That's all this was just like he's going to show up and they're going to try and take over, but no, they stop him because they shut down the barrier, and then everyone shows up. Like it seems so simple to me, and I just kind of was hoping for more.
I'm always excited to see a swarm of X-wing fighters come in. So that
Nothing happened. They swarm and they land. Like, come on.
was one of those X-wing pilots. Was that Ello Asti from named after the Beastie Boys? What wasn't that the one from Force Awakens?
Yes.
Was that him?
Yes, and Greg, what's his face? Greg.
No, he wasn't in the.
No, but he was an X-wing fighter in the Force Awakens.
Yeah, but
Greg Grunberg?
was the guy we saw last night? Hello, Hawks.
Oh,
was that him?
So was that? Was that? Hey, it wasn't. I don't know.
It might have been him.
You think it was Elo Asti? Yeah,
it might have been. And then, so I didn't mind that. I like a swarm of X-wings. I'm delighted to see them.
And then also, whatever you call the Corvettes, the
Aurelian Corvette,
yeah.
the Rebel blockade runner. And I think I was worried, although I think it might have been implying that Leia was on board that thing. It might have been. But I was worried we were going to see CGI Leia from Rogue One going.
Why would it still be Leia on board that thing?
Still around, still in play.
But why would she still be flying around on that thing?
It's her ship.
That's not her ship anymore.
Why, that's like saying
Never her ship.
Why would Han Solo still be flying around in that Millennium Falcon?
If that's intentional, if that was what that is intended as, it's stupid. I don't
know if it is.
Didn't even occur to me that would be Princess Leia.
Well, you can't. We don't know, but you could, I think, draw that comparison. I mean, was it the exact same ship that we see in the first scene of Star Wars, or was it a different one?
It is probably the first one. Well, I don't know if it's the exact same, but it's the same style. I don't know. I just think
how many of those ships are there? There must be more than one.
I just assumed they would have a different kind of, like, once they win the war, they get to get all the good ships, and when the rebels, they don't have the good ships. Although that was her ship as an Alderaanian princess,
right?
Wasn't it? Anyway, I don't know. I get it. It's a little heavy-handed, I think. I wasn't really.
Oh, I liked it. I was happy to see it. I
didn't like that at all.
I thought they showed restraint.
I wanted some more. I want some more of what's going on. Like, okay, now what's part? I guess that's going to be season 2. That's learning. What's going to happen now to Atten. But
yeah. Well, now we've got what's his name in play? Blueskin, Thrawn. We've got Thrawn in play. Which is happening concurrently. He's not going to
have anything to do with anything.
Okay.
No, they're not tying this together. I'm not buying that
for the money.
But Thrawn is not going to be in the season 2 of this.
Potentially.
No, I don't think so.
Will he be in The Mandalorian?
Aren't they doing another season of Ahsoka?
Yes.
Then he'll be in that.
Well, he will be in that, but will he also be?
No.
All of these shows, remember, the ultimate plan here is Filoni is going to tie all these shows.
There was nothing in this series about it, and this is happening.
Right. Well, no, there isn't, because it's only season 1. There will be.
No, they should have done it. If they were going to do it, they would have done it in this series. I think they should have had something. I was waiting for a post-credit scene. They didn't give that.
Yes, I kind of hope
they kind of teased one with the way they did the graphics and stuff, and I'm like, come on. And so they didn't do that. And like, if they're trying to, they should have had something, because the movie's coming out next summer.
Yep.
There should have been something to tease the movie if they were going to do that.
That'd be amazing if they had we know they have a trailer for it because they showed it.
It seemed like they were making like, we need to call a bounty hunter. Like, it seemed like they were making deliberate attempts to tease an appearance by Amanda or by somebody, and they didn't do it. Like, I was just kind of disappointed.
But even Andor is 3 months away. Like,
but that takes place in the past.
Yeah, but that's okay. Give us a teaser at the end. Give us a hey.
No. It has to have to do with this story. They can't travel back in time.
No, not as a stinger or whatever in the credits, but as here's the trailer for the next thing that you're going to be able to see, like a trailer.
No, I don't think they would do that. They said that kind of stuff for Comic-Cons and stuff.
Yeah, but they actually showed the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer there for on Hoth and all of that stuff to the cheering crowd, because it was on YouTube before they took it down. And they could have shown that exact same thing as even separately, just release it on Disney Plus the same day.
Oh, well, yeah, but they could do that kind of thing for sure. I wouldn't be surprised to see them doing more and more of that. I see like all kinds of things being uploaded, like every little behind the scenes thing. I'm sure we'll get a behind the scenes, what do they call it when they do the
featurette? Yeah,
those documentaries they make about the making of. I'll see a big round table, Dave Filoni and all those guys around the table. Oh, it'll be what's his name that did this one? The guy who did Spider-Man. John Watts.
Right.
And he also did Wolves. But But yeah, so we'll see that, and we'll see a little bit more about how they put this together. Again, I liked it overall. It's a great show. I think it was a lot of fun. I'm gonna watch it again now, so I'll be watching it. I think my girlfriend and I watched like 3 episodes together, and we'll keep watching it a little bit by a little bit. And I was liking it, watching it again, kind of realizing what was coming. So it's good on the second time around. And then I'll let you know, maybe I'll enjoy now that I know what's coming, I won't be as disappointed in the finale when it happens. Because I think I got my hopes up that it was going to be this big, meaningful thing, and it just wasn't.
Oh, I liked it. I got caught up in it. I found it exciting. I love the series. Like, coming off of The Acolyte, I have to say, contextually speaking, I was so happy that this was not The Acolyte, because it could have been. It could have been the second nail in the coffin, but it wasn't. It was delightful. And I also thought that I do think that the show succeeds as something that younger fans will like. I don't think it's just, I think older fans can enjoy it, but I think younger fans can too. I think that's important to the franchise. I love I think these characters, because they're kids, they could be with this franchise for a long time. Like, we could see them when they're 40 years old. and part of me kind of thought at the end of the episode, I thought we might get a flash forward, because it almost seems like Wim is going to be a Jedi in training. He's going to get on the Rebel blockade runner and off he goes. But we don't really want him at Luke's academy, because he's going to get slaughtered by Kylo Ren.
That's right.
Right? Is that what that's still
that's what happens?
Yeah. So we don't want that. Like we're that would be a bad twist of fate.
Well, I know, but he would have been growing up and long out of there by the time Kylo Ren came around, right? Like,
would he?
How
close are we?
He would certainly be in the early classes of that academy, because he's like the right age now to do it.
Right.
He's a teenager. So, and let's assume like a 4-year program. Let's see. It would be a Jedi Academy 4-year program. What do you think?
Probably longer than that.
You think so? Is there a doctorate? Is there a Jedi doctorate?
Well, everyone we've met who's only had a little training is pretty piss poor at it. So I'm just saying.
So it's more like a police academy kind of thing.
But remember, Grogu had needed Luke's therapy to unlock the Force again.
True. And they should really think. I know they've done this. There's a children's book series called Jedi Academy, kind of like a what's it called, Diary of a Wimpy Kid style book series with like little. I actually bought a few for my kids when they were younger.
Oh.
They liked them, just like I read them to them, but they were like they just. It's like it was my attempt to try and get them to Star Wars, and it didn't work. But they should do that for real. They should do a Jedi Academy series that like follows like training of Jedi. That would be another thing that I think would be good for the kids. Like, the kids would really like that kind of thing.
We had that one a scene I actually liked from The Acolyte, which was showing the kids in training, or something. And I thought, that's good. That would be a premise. That could be a whole premise for a show, no doubt about it. And and Jedi Academy was also a video game.
That's right. Yeah,
that I enjoyed playing. That I remember it having a decent story and stuff. So I mean, there's stuff out there. Certainly, there's probably been books and comics. There's probably been all kinds of stuff. I saw somebody today share online that the supercomputer, the supervisor is the supercomputer. Apparently, and I remember this, but I need to go back and look at it, and I haven't done it yet. Apparently, in Marvel Comics, when they leave behind the Star Wars story, the first comic after they've told the first movie, Star Wars, is C-3PO walking. Oh, no, it's not the comic. It's the, they had a Star Wars comic that ran in newspapers.
Yeah, a strip.
Comic strip. That's it. It's not Marvel Comics. And they showed the picture, and it's C-3PO going to talk to a supercomputer, and it's the same. It's like, looks like the supervisor.
Oh, wow.
So it looks like they borrowed from comic strips from.
I kind of saw that. I thought it was like a HAL 9000 kind of reference.
Oh, very much.
Eye and stuff like that.
Very much.
There was a bit of that going on. It was good. Like, I must say, it was just kind of like we saw it coming. We saw it coming a mile away. And yeah, it could have been something a little more interesting than that. He could have done something. The supervisor ended up not doing anything and not really helping one way or another. We just sat there. Then, it's a computer, killed, and that was it. So I thought that was
It was easy to shut it down. I was actually surprised how easy it was to shut it down.
Yeah, just stick a lightsaber in something and you can shut it down.
Yeah, and when they first walked in, pure Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
I thought, come on, where's the guy? Like,
right,
this is not really a computer. There's a guy over. Like, come on, but that might be too on the nose, especially when Wicked just came out. That could have actually been really bad. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Everybody's thinking about Wicked, and then you have the same thing happen in the show. But it did, and I'm sure it's not a coincidence that it looks like Wizard of Oz. I'm sure that that's not.
Oh, sure. Everything's
like
kind of
that.
boring from Wizard of Oz these days. That's a very hot ticket item.
Also, here's something else. Why did we need to hide the identity of that pirate guy on the hologram on the earlier episode when he didn't even come back into play? Renaud, what was his name? What was his
The
name?
guy who had the original, like who originally brought the ship there with the droid. How did they hide his identity? I don't remember.
They show a broadcast of him sitting on a chair, but you never see his face, and he's talking. He's the
Yeah, you thought it might mean that he was a supervisor and we're going to see him
Right.
later, and
but
then he never comes back.
No, that
No.
guy never came back into play, and I thought that guy has to come back into play.
Well, there's I rewatched the first episode recently, and there's a few skeletons on the ship when they arrived there. So is he one of those?
Well, then we would know that he was dead, but nobody seems to have that in their mind. That never comes up that one of the skeletons is him. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So we're sort of, once again, that's the one sort of payoff that I thought we didn't quite get. And then if we didn't get it, then why are we hiding his face? Well, then I think that we can only draw the conclusion that that pirate guy is still alive somehow. We still don't know who it is. Is it somebody we know? Maybe.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't even think of that. I don't know.
That was the last little thing that I sort of thought we needed to tie up, but maybe not.
So you think next season they're going to have, the kids are something's Wim's doing some Jedi training. Something's happening. We're learning about this world kind of being integrated into the New Republic, and then Jod's going to show up because he wants those credits still, or what's?
It almost seems beside the point at that point.
Well, exactly.
Very odd. Like he's not like he is greedy. He's happy to see the money. They've already loaded his ship with it, as we saw when it crashes and all the coins fall out, which I thought was pretty good. I don't know why he needed his pirate. Oh, like he needed the ship so that they had people they had people watching the workers. He's like, I want you to keep doing what you're already doing. Like I don't want to hurt you.
He's going to keep everyone as a slave, basically.
Yeah.
Keep them all in their own.
Yeah, that's what Trump wants from Canada. That's all he wants. He just wants us to keep doing our jobs. Well, he sits back and the money funnels up. That's exactly the same thing that Jod wanted. But it's but even then, it almost seems like he does get a kick out of the adventure of it. It's like he gets a kick out of the kids sticking it to him in a weird way. When he sees the pirate ship crash, he seems to enjoy it a little bit, at least a little, where he kind of like has appreciation for.
It's certainly an interesting character. I do want to see more of him. I also noticed his shirt is like the same color as Lando.
Oh yeah, that's a Lando shirt for sure.
It's a total Lando shirt, so that's an interesting.
Lando brought it to the Salvation Army.
That's right.
Smugglers
Salvation Army.
Right, and he went there.
Yes, and Scoundrels Salvation Army. Scoundrels Armies. Anyway. All right, so that's it for Skeleton Crew, and I guess the next one will be Andor in April. So I'm going to cancel my Disney Plus until then.
Are you?
Yep, and I've already done it, and I've already canceled my Netflix. So I'm just going to try. Actually, no, I'll just say this: I've fallen into the marketing trap that Apple has laid for me, and I've been watching Severance for free on Roku the first season.
Yep.
And it's so good. I want to see season 2. I'm seeing season 2 promotions as I'm watching season 1. So I'm like, okay, I'm just probably going to sign up for Apple TV Plus. So that's where my Disney Plus money is going to go to Apple TV Plus for the month while I watch Severance.
I got a good idea.
Go back for Andor.
I cracked this a while ago, and that is wait till the show is done so you can watch all the episodes as you're ready to watch them. And whatever, like you can.
Oh, are they still doing weekly release on that?
It's weekly release. So I believe so. Yes, I believe that's how it works.
They do that. You're right.
Yes, I believe so. So you wait till the end, and then like I've got a list. That's like Severance. I haven't seen the last season of Slow Horses. You can knock that out really. It's probably 8 episodes. That's probably quick. And then let me think. There's 2 other things. Whatever. I can't remember what they were. Yeah. But it's like you save it up, and then you can like knock that. You can knock it out so quick. You're only paying 1 month.
Yeah, no, I know, and I think I think this tactic is going to work. I think a lot of people are going to pick up on Severance. Anybody who has a Roku is getting advertised to them all the time. And they're going to, I mean, they've heard about Severance being a good show. They just don't want to sign up for Apple TV Plus, so this gives them a chance to try it. Wouldn't be surprised. Now, the thing is, would it cause people to say, well, the second season of Severance is just going to come here eventually anyway? So wait for Roku to get it, and it's like a second-run theater for streaming services.
See, I saw the first season of Severance, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 months after it first aired. And it was not spoiled for me. Nobody was I didn't see. I saw people saying it was good, but I didn't. But nothing was spoiled. I enjoyed it just as much as if I would have watched it one episode at a time. I don't think it made a difference. I learned a valuable lesson. And the other thing is, every time you buy an Apple device, and I'm probably due for one, maybe next year, maybe this year. Actually, now that I think about it, it got a crack in the screen. But you get your 3. Is it 3 months? I think.
Well, it varies, and it depends on how new your Apple ID is. Because they've been advertising one to me, but you have to have a brand new Apple ID and be a brand new Roku customer as well.
Right.
That means just making a new email address, but it's still
too much trouble, too much work.
But next week, okay, so we're gonna go off. We're gonna go back to Media Nerds next week. We're gonna talk about the TikTok ban.
Yeah,
that's something we're gonna see what happens on the 19th. And then
we're Canadian, by the way. Yeah, so we're not. There's no ban for us,
but that we're aware of. Our American followers will not follow us, and vice versa. So we'll see what happens there. But anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Badabunker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you in the ass.
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Now I am the master.
I'm taking an awful risk, mate.